and now they're crying for unity. Well, I'm sorry, Tim, but the United States of America does not negotiate with terrorists. We're back with some more Tim Pool buffoonery. We're going to go through 3 of his videos, bits and pieces of each of them that he made after the Capitol Hill riots, and we're just going to discuss some parts where he is just dead wrong or just further contributing to the collective brain rot that's going on in this country right now. So let's just get right into it.
Images have emerged showing the total vote count between Perdue and Ossoff in Georgia. That's the Perdue being the Republican, Ossoff being the Democrat. And just like we saw with Joe Biden, around late in the night, we saw that even though Perdue was winning with both lines going up, Ossoff just jumps straight up and then it moves forward like normal. A strange, anomalous jump that people don't have an explanation for, giving Ossoff the victory. And because of things like that, people do not trust these.
This is what I mean. This is what I mean contributing to the brain rot that we currently see in this country. He says people don't have an explanation for that. Yes, the people who have 2 brain cells to rub together have an explanation for that. It's the Trump supporters who can't handle taking losses. They can't handle the agony of defeat. I've seen children handle it better than them. And they think that, oh no, look at that big jump. It must be something fraudulent going on. That's not how your brain is supposed to work. You can't just jump to a conclusion of, oh no, my opponent took the lead in a large way, so therefore there is fraud. No. When they count these votes, when they count these ballots, they're not just giving you, oh, here's 10 ballots and they're going up one by one. Here's 10 more, here's one more, or here's 10, or here's 100. The larger counties, when they get counts, they give you huge amounts of ballot counts at once. So if it comes from a county that is predominantly Democratic, and there's obviously, in generally, more ballots to count in those counties because they are larger cities generally in those counties, so there's more people voting. So there's a potential for there to be a big jump towards the Democrat when they're dropping large sums of ballots from highly populated areas like metropolitan city areas in cities like Atlanta. It does not take a rocket scientist to figure this out. And if you see that and you think, oh my God, look at the Dems, they're cheating, fraud. I'm sorry, but you're just very confused. And Tim Pool running some sort of apologetics for it here, saying, oh, this is why they're upset. Well, yeah, that may be why they're upset, but the reason isn't a valid reason. It's delusion.
When Republicans see these lockdowns will persist, with control going to Democrats, there will be years of lockdowns. That's what Bill Gates and Fauci have both said. Before anything goes to normal, it'll be years. Ossoff, Joe Biden's advisor, said 6 weeks of a national lockdown and mask mandate. You have Trump supporters whose jobs, whose businesses, everything have been stripped away and destroyed by the lockdowns. And they blame the government and predominantly the Democrats.
So there he goes over. Trump supporters have had their businesses shut down and closed, and that's why they're not just Trump supporters have that's happened to. That's happened to people no matter who you support. And then he says, well, they predominantly blame the Democrats, but they shouldn't predominantly blame the Democrats. Okay, so if the Democrats had control of the Senate throughout this entire year, there would have been much more given to the people than just what we got in just one calendar year of 2020 of, what was it, $1,200? Because the second stimulus didn't come until, in most people's accounts, until 2021, actually. So if the Democrats controlled the Senate, these people actually would have gotten more money, one. Two, the main reason that this country is in the way it is in terms of COVID and economic struggle and the disaster that we've seen is federally from Trump's administration. That's where it comes from federally. Now, if you want to break it down on a state level and you want to go state by state and you want to look at the governors and you want to look at your certain county, obviously that gets a little different. But to say that you're blaming the Democrats federally for your businesses being shut down and COVID being so awful, that is just misplaced rage. Completely misplaced rage on the federal level.
Leftists were making jokes about guillotines for the elites in the ruling class. Were they serious? Or are they now going to oppose the Trump supporters who are storming the Capitol building? Isn't this what Antifa wanted? This is what worries me. What happens if it is, and they go in and then it breaks this country? What happens if we actually are entering some kind of civil war? Is it all that...
Can I just stop there too and say, how many times is this guy going to mention civil war? He is longing for some sort of armed conflict in this country. I've never seen it before. It's insane. The man constantly talks about, are we looking at another civil war? Is there going to be a civil war? I feel a civil war coming on. This will be the catalyst that fires the first shot of the second civil war. You don't believe me? Let's look at. Here you go. These are just a bunch of. The second civil war is coming into focus. The start of the second civil war. Culture war to civil war. We are in civil war. News for you, Tim. No, we're not. Secret anti-Trump war games predict Democrats push us to civil war. Voters fear civil war may be coming. The escalating civil war. The coup against Trump will ignite civil war. I think you guys get the point. And the odd part of the thing is he was claiming that there was a coup against Donald Trump. This man thinks that there was a coup against Donald Trump. No, okay? We clearly see who wanted to enact a coup because they actually attempted.
Reaching the Capitol is not like someone smashing the window from a Louis Vuitton and stealing a bag. We are talking about one of the most secure buildings in our country, one of the most important, being breached by American citizens, for better or for worse. The crackdown, I believe, if this gambit fails, will be severe. We will hear from Joe Biden that those who supported Trump, there's going to be truth and reconciliation commissions. They're going to come after a lot of people. I think they'll go after websites like Parler. The DNS will shut them down, and the Great Reset is underway. I don't know what's to come next. I don't. I'm not psychic. Stay safe. Get ready. Something's happening.
Okay, so it seems he may have been right about Parler. I'll give him some credit there because was it Apple, Google, and Amazon removed Parler. I know the Apple Store and Google's Play removed Parler from their store, and I'm not sure what Amazon did in terms of removing Parler. So it looks like he may have been right there, but I love how he segues into the ending of be safe. I don't know what's going to happen, but like this man, you can just see it, like just oozing from his pores. This man is urging everyone, that all of his viewers, to get ready for a civil war, and he's like just hoping that it happens. It's truly disgusting.
I'm really scared about what's happening in this country right now. A woman was climbing up on a window and was shot. The Capitol Hill, the Capitol police officer who shot her has been placed on administrative leave, and many people are saying that she's a martyr. They're now trying to immediately remove the president. There's calls for the vice president to resign. And the worrying thing is, no matter what anyone says, it's you're with us or you're against us. It's bloodlust or it's nothing. For instance, I can sit here all day and say, please stop fighting.
Yeah, let's touch on that. She martyred herself for Donald J. Trump. Let that sink in. I cannot wrap my head around it. It's been days and I still can't wrap my head around how someone would martyr themselves for Donald Trump. The man has not a single value worth aspiring to. The man doesn't even have a worldview beyond self-enrichment. But people have been driven so deep into his cult that she martyrs herself. I can't. It's wild. It's very wild.
To the extreme degree that we find ourselves at today, we need to ask people to be calm, and we need to come together, admit our faults, and shake hands and agree on a way that we can move forward peacefully so that we can ensure the prosperity and the civility of this nation. Where is it? Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz said it. Here's the problem. The left won't. And I'm not trying to play into this tribalist game. That worries me.
This is just so awful. He knows what he's doing here, because these are the same people who are now calling for unity after they tried to coup the government when they lost a free and fair election. They had assaulted democracy, and now he's like, oh, we need to come together. And then he brings up Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was on the floor of the Senate just before this happened, objecting to the Electoral College on no evidence and just saying, oh, there are millions of people in this country who think that it was a fraudulent election. Yeah, well, we don't care what you think. It has to be proven. These are the same people to go on and on about facts don't care about your feelings, right? These are the same people that during the riot were chanting, hang Mike Pence, and now they're crying for unity. Well, I'm sorry, Tim, but the United States of America does not negotiate with terrorists.
What about when we saw a church in Washington, D.C. set ablaze, a historic landmark across from the White House? No. When Ilhan Omar was accused repeatedly of anti-Semitic statements, did they even censure her? No. But now, after all this, with Ted Cruz saying, calm down, please have peace, they insist on escalating everything. And there is nothing anyone can do.
We're not escalating anything, Tim. It's just, again, the United States of America does not negotiate with terrorists. Ted Cruz, along with Hawley and others, incited an angry mob of Trump supporters, along with Donald Trump, feeding them lies and conspiracies for years, to coup this government. That is far different than a church being set on fire. While a church being set on fire is terrible, it is not of the same relevance. If you can't see that, you're the partisan hack. I will quote Sam Harris for what he said on Twitter. It's one thing to loot a banana republic. It is an entirely different thing to turn the United States of America into a banana republic. Now, I'm paraphrasing there. It's not exactly what he said, but you get the gist of it. You can look up his tweet if you'd like.
How do you tell this person, please don't use this language? How do you say it's time that Trump supporters sat down and had a conversation with progressives and Democrats? It's time now that we lay down our figurative swords and discuss how we avoid this. I can say it a million times, I guess. Obviously, Ted Cruz wants to. Here's where we go next. Jim Cramer tweets, will bank...
Yeah, Ted Cruz wants to avoid it after he spent the last 4 years doing nothing, which he's in a very strong position of power to actually quell some of Donald Trump's insanity. He did nothing. He went along with it, at times joining in on it for self-enrichment and more power in the Senate. During the riots, he released a fundraising message via text, I'm sure email too. And now, when he has maybe seen the aftermath of what has happened, and 5 people dead, including a Capitol Hill officer, and the wrath of his peers in Congress coming down on him, now he wants to stop it. Yeah, well, we should stop it. We will stop it, but Ted Cruz is not going to determine that, and Ted Cruz is not going to be able to just shake hands with the other side, wash his hands, and walk away as if he isn't culpable in any of this.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? The crazy thing is that, like, what the Trump supporters did was only extreme because it was the Capitol building and it was during the electoral vote count. The idea that they would break into a building and break windows, I mean, what they did was nothing in terms of destruction compared to what we saw from the left.
No, it wasn't only extreme because they broke into the Capitol building. It was extreme because they broke into the Capitol building and they forcefully interrupted the peaceful transition of power based on lies and conspiracies that were ginned up by the President of the United States. It is one thing to loot and ransack a target. It is an entirely other thing to make the Capitol building your target based on lies and conspiracies. And then as it's going on, Trump releases a video calling them patriots and special people. No, I got a quick quote for you from Teddy Roosevelt. Patriotism means to stand by the country. It does not mean to stand by the president.
Arrested and imprisoned, and then got out of prison and became dangerous or revered individuals. Just because Trump is being threatened, just because they're saying they want to impeach and convict him, and just because everything we're seeing right now seems to be very against Trump, doesn't mean that he doesn't turn around and do something. I don't know what you can expect other than Trump supporters are angry, the anger won't go away, and the left is inflaming everything. Censorship is already getting worse. They're going to go after bank accounts of individuals.
The irony of this man who does nothing but pump out Trump propaganda for 4 years saying that the left is inflaming everything. Trump has been one never-ending stream of gasoline on the smoldering fire that was this country for the last 4 years. The man has weaponized Twitter to spread lies and conspiracies at scale for 4 years. And then he gets in front of podiums for 4 years and spreads further lies about everything, ranging to the size of his inauguration crowd to a 100-year pandemic that's killed over 300,000 people. The irony.
I think it was a mistake for everybody. I don't think it should have happened. And it was a failure from everybody, from the mayor of D.C. to Trump to the people who went inside. That's a fact. And it only hurt their cause. But more importantly, Trump didn't come out explicitly saying do anything. They're trying to claim he did because he said protest in D.C., be there. They're trying to claim he did because he said we're going to the Capitol. What they're arguing now is something called stochastic terrorism, where they argue that Trump knew they would do something. There's a famous piece of art that
This is the common move of any authoritarian, from as low as a mob boss to as high as a dictator of a nation. You generally don't directly say, hey, go storm the Capitol and take back what's yours. No, of course not.
Together in the heart of our nation's capital for one very, very basic and simple reason: to save our democracy. We have hundreds of thousands of people here, and I just want them to be recognized by the fake news media. Turn your cameras, please, and show what's really happening out here, because these people are not going to take it any longer. Because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore. We will stop the steal. We will not let them silence your voices. We're not going to let it happen. they've used the pandemic as a way of defrauding the people. We want to go back and we want to get this right, because we're going to have somebody in there that should not be in there, and our country will be destroyed, and we're not going to stand for that. For years, Democrats have gotten away with election fraud. Republicans are constantly fighting like a boxer with his hands tied behind his back. It's like a boxer. And we want to be so nice. We want to be so respectful of everybody, including bad people. And we're going to have to fight much harder. But just remember this, you're stronger, you're smarter, you've got more going than anybody, and they try and demean everybody having to do with us. And you're the real people. You're the people that built this nation. You have to get your people to fight. And if they don't fight, we have to primary the hell out of the ones that don't fight. And our election was so corrupt.
What on earth do you think is going to happen, Tim, when the President of the United States is standing up there saying this to an already angry mob that he's been ginning up for 4 years, telling them to stand by and stand back? And now the day has come where they've all gathered, tens of thousands, maybe 100,000, and this is the speech he's giving. Well, of course, he didn't directly say, go storm the Capitol and hurt some people. That would be foolish. But anyone who isn't cognitively compromised can see what he is insinuating.